Well, so my machine today is DerpNstink, and we will get root access to this machine today. And this machine is, you can find the machine on Vulnhub. I will put the download description and the download link in the video description. And in this machine we're required to find in total 3 flags and get root access. The first flag is given in the very beginning of the machine description in the Vulnhub website. So we are required only to find the second and the third flag and then get root access. So um, so here, okay, first you scan the machine using for all ports aggressive scan, and for all the services, and I put the IP address of the machine, which is 18. Okay, so here, so now we are scanning the machine, and you will find later that this machine has a WordPress installation, and the mainstay of our work will be on exploiting the WordPress. So basically here we have HTTP, SSH, and FTP. So first, and in a nutshell, okay, you need first to use directory buster, and as we used to do, I will not run directory buster. I will give you the directories that I discovered immediately and rapidly. The buster is very easy to use. So here we have the directories here. So we have web notes, okay, we have weblog basically, which is the directory that has the WordPress installation. We have phpMyAdmin and PHP. So basically you run the directory buster using the big.txt word list. Okay, make sure you use this word list in order to find the said directories. So here, well, and let me show you something here, that in order to open the weblog directory, you need to go to your host file, and in your host file you put the IP address of the DerpNstink machine here, okay, and you put the the host DerpNstink local, so you can open the WordPress directory. Well, so let me clear here, and let's discover the directories we have. So here we have web notes, and here you can see most, it's not most, I mean, it's kinds of hints. So you have the user Stinky. It's telling you that there's a user called Stinky on the machine, and so if we search for var, well, so those web notes will not give you much about the machine, but if you browse to this web notes, you will see the Stinky. So we have a user called Stinky. Okay, so let me look out from here. Okay, now if you go to weblog directory, you will see a WordPress installation, and the first thing you do is firing up webscan. So webscan usually takes an amount of time that it's not so much, but it takes time. So here you scan the IP address and you put the weblog as a directory of the WordPress to scan, and you choose enumerate to enumerate all the plugins, themes, and possible uh, users. So here we have multiple vulnerabilities on this WordPress. First of which is we have arbitrary file upload in slideshow gallery. And let me make sure that I'm recording. Yeah, great. Okay. So we have slideshow gallery, and the vulnerability is arbitrary file upload. We can take advantage of this vulnerability, and we have another kind of vulnerability which is arbitrary file upload and cross-site scripting. The other vulnerabilities are kind of only cross-site scripting. So coming to users, we have two users on this system, admin and Untitled. So admin and Untitled. So I go here, or if we go to devil will be admin, and basic hint is, so you have the user admin, so you immediately or rapidly something comes out of your mind and try to say to you that you try admin. So if you log in and try your log, you'll get access as the admin. But basically the user admin is not the actual admin on the WordPress. Basically you can see here, WordPress is available, please notify the site administrator, indicating that admin is not possibly the actual or real admin of the WordPress site. And you can see here that this user, which is admin, okay, has limited access or limited authorizations on this website. So he has only access to slideshow and to view the profile. So basically that's what we need basically to exploit the installation of the WordPress, because we have a vulnerability in slideshow, okay, and we need the username and the password to exploit this. So basically the exploit is available on exploit database, okay. You can download the exploit and I will put the exploit URL. So basically here is the exploit URL. I will put this URL into the description of the video, and we download the exploit here, okay. Well, so this is the exploit that I run, and I had some struggles. So here, let me run the exploit. So Python slide exploit py, and so we specify the username, which is admin, the password, which is admin, and here we specify -f the URL, which is 168.119.118 web log. Okay, so upon running this command, okay, the exploit will give you a URL. You have to navigate to this URL, and in order to activate the reverse shell that will be uploaded. And don't forget to specify the web shell that you're going to use. So let me here enter to remember the okay. So basically here we type slide exploit.py, specifying the URL, okay, and the username, which is admin, and the password, and the file name. So you need a web shell to upload. So basically Kali Linux has already or predefined or pre-built or pre-packaged, whatever name it you want. You can find it here under the user share web shells. So we specify PHP and PHP reverse shell. And as I said, upon running this command, you will get a URL you need to navigate in order to activate or to run the command. and I will not run this. Okay, I will directly navigate to the URL that I had. So here we go to the URL. Okay, so here's the URL. This URL is an output of this script. Okay, and don't forget to go to the shell and configure your ports. Let me show you how. So leave path user share web shells php shell. Well, so before running or navigating to the URL, you need to edit your PHP reverse shell and specifying the port that you want your machine to listen on and put the IP address of your machine. So we close this, and after this you navigate to the URL. So I will establish my listener pp. Good. So here I will click on X, and then I will re-navigate to reactivate the script. So here we have shell access right now. So now we have a limited shell on the machine, and so far we haven't gathered any kind of flags. So first let me establish my TTY shell. So now we have access as www data. Okay, so don't forget that we had a user called Untitled. This user, okay, this user had been uncovered when we ran the WP scan. So we need to find the password for this user. So we go ahead basically to var HTML, and here we go to weblog, and here we have the WordPress installation files. In order to have the passwords for the current users, we need to have the password for the MySQL database. So the MySQL database can be extracted or can be accessed to by knowing the password for the database username and the database password. So cat wp-config. So here we have all the configurations of the WordPress, and here we have db name WordPress, db user root, and db user password, db password MySQL. So we need to have a MySQL connection to the current database. And don't try to establish the connection from outside the current shell, because you will have no luck. You need to establish the connection from inside or from within the limited shell, because the MySQL connection port is not opened to the outside world or outside the machine. So MySQL so we are denied access for user www data. So let's MySQL -u root -p MySQL. Great. So we now have access, and now let's show the current databases. Show databases. So the current databases are here. We only have to do or to deal with WordPress. So use WordPress show tables. So now we have the tables. The table that has all the information we are seeking is WP users. So select from Now we have the password hash for the user on listing key. Okay, so you take this hash, quit here, and this hash is or could be cracked using John the Ripper. So John, or let me have this hash into a file. So now I have the hash on my desktop. All I need to do is run John and specify the hash file. You will get the password cracked. Okay, and of course I will not run this command as it may take some time, but you will get the password using John the Ripper, and the password is basically here. Okay, so we go ahead and copy the password and go to our WordPress installation here. So log out from here, and the username we need to use this time or persuade is unclistinky. Login. Now you have access, and the first flag is found here, the second flag basically. So here is the second flag. Okay, now as of now we don't have to keep the WordPress installation open, so we get out from here and go back to our limited shell. Well, so we need then to have or to get the third flag. So let's go to home, in home we have Mr. Derp and Stinky. Let's try to access Mr. Derp. Permission denied. And as you can see here, the permissions for the Mr. Derp directory and Stinky are only limited to the user Mr. Derp and Stinky. So we need to switch to either one of them. So basically, Mr. Derp, we don't have the password for Mr. Derp, and we don't have the password for Stinky. But if you try to sudo to Stinky and reuse the password, which we have got from here, now we switch to user Stinky. ID Stinky. Okay. Next, go to Stinky. So we have SSH. Okay, but if you got the private keys for the SSH and try to log in your way to SSH, you will have low luck to get root access or escalate your privilege. So the alternative path is, if you cd2 documents, so we will have a pcap file. Okay, this pcap file is here for a reason. So the best way to take advantage of this pcap file and try to sneak around and see what this file has is by using TCP dump and dumping the output to a text file. So here we will use TCP dump -r, specify the file that we want to read, and specify the option which is -x to read the content either in hex or in ASCII, and we specify -q for verbose, and we output the result to temp directory, and we specify the file, for example derp.p.txt. Run TCP dump. Well, so now let's go to temp. In temp now we have the file, which is derpy. Okay, but basically, what do we need from this file? Of course, we're not gonna read all of the information, all of the connections and packets inside this file, because it's gonna be a tedious process. So basically, we have to define what we need from this file. If we really go to home, and stinky, so from here, downloads, desktop. So here is, I think this is the third flag. Okay, so basically the third flag is in desktop file, in the desktop of the user stinky. But if we go to Mr. Derp, cd var, I remember that I found a file or a directory called support that has cd2 home. Okay, no problem. So you go to temp, and from this file, which is derpy.txt, there is a password that you need to have. This password is for the user Mr. Derpy. So in order, because if you do sudo because Mr. Stinky or Stinky user is not in the sudo words, so we cannot escalate our privilege from this user. We need to switch to more privileged user. So the more privileged user is Mr. Derp. So this file, which has the packets and the connections and all of the information regarding the pcap file dumped inside of it. So we need to discover this file, what this file has. So cat derpy.txt, and we output or pipe to grep. In grep we will use, or we will search for the password. Now, as you can see here, response password and password 1 equal derp, 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 and we have derp, pass1, derp, derp, derp. Okay, so basically this is, you have to append or combine the derps here, okay, with the derps in here. Another way you can do this is by, for example, derpy txt grep password. Oh, okay, cat So here's another way you can grab the password of the user derp, Mr. Derp. So you have to combine the derps from here with the derps from here. You will find there are 7. So Mr. Derp, 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 and here we go, they are 6 or, yeah, okay, 7. So now we are Mr. Derp. So we go to home, and now we can go to Mr. Derp directory. we will find a couple of things here. So sudo -l. Let me grab the password from my notes every time. So every time I don't need to write the password again. Well, it says that user Mr. Derp may run the following commands on DerpNstink all. So here we have home, Mr. Derp, binaries, derpy. So Mr. Derp can run any command, can run as sudo only when it runs under the directory binaries and the file derpy. So we need to create a directory called binaries and place a file inside of it called derpy. If we run this file using Mr. Derp, okay, this file will be run as sudo. Okay, so how can we run this file as sudo and gain root access? So if you place a bash script or create a bash script and name it derpy, and if you write a command on this bash script to connect back to our attacking machine, okay, it will connect or render a connection back as root. So let's go to home, Mr. cd, Mr. derp, and here is the directory which is binary. If you don't find the directory here, just go ahead and create it, okay? So cd binaries, well, derpy.sh, this script you will not find it here. You need to create a new script that has or that connects to your machine. So basically you need to create a script here called derpy, exactly derpy, okay? And whatever you need, you can create bash script, you can create Python script, you can create whatever language you're willing to use here, and just make sure to use derpy as the file name. So then you go ahead and execute this file as sudo. So inside of this file you can create for example a netcat connection to your machine, or you can, for example, execute some OS commands. So if I, for example, here is derpy.sh, so I will show you the content of this script. So here I have defined bin bash and then defined a connection to my attacking machine. Okay, so if I go ahead and open another listener on my machine here, say, okay, and then you go ahead here and sudo derpy, or now here is the connection has been got back on our attacking machine, and you can see we are root right now. So id root. Another way you can use or execute, so instead of creating a connection to your machine, you can, for example, let me remove derp. Okay, so echo, let's create the same file or the same script, but with an alternative way of gaining root access. derpy.sh. Great. Now echo let's say set uid echo now echo. So now we are setting the effective and real ID to be 0, which is the ID of the root user. So now bin dash give permission to our script, execute. So I think we have syntax error here and expect token 0. So let me go back and see. Make sure that I type the command. So I think that we need to create a C file. Yeah. Okay, let me go back here. I think setUID and setGID are C commands or C codes. So let's recreate the script here. Bin dash and derpnstink echo permissions. Yeah, again, OS system are Python scripts. I'm just confusing between Python and Bash and those kind of things. Anyway, this way you can get root access, and by using whatever kind of scripts you can use, just make sure exactly you name it derpy.sh, and one of the ways is establishing a connection back to your machine using those lines, or you can use some kind of, if you can use setUID 0, okay, and set GID to be 0, but make sure you use it on a C code, and of course os.system on Python, not on Bash. So basically that's it for this machine. Stop.